Welcome back to STEMKANIX. Today we're going to learn about the basics of CSS, HTML, and the CSS Box Model. I'm using CodePen.io. You can use it for free just by going to their website and clicking Create a New Pen. I have the windows set up so the HTML and CSS are on the left and the viewport is on the right. I will hide the JavaScript window because we won't be using it today. First, in the HTML window, I'm going to make a div element. Elements are wrapped inside angle brackets. That's how the browser knows to interpret the element as HTML for marking up the web page. We can put anything we want inside a div. It's a sort of empty box for holding content. We'll write hello, and you'll see the word hello on the viewport. Now, how do you know how big the div is? What are its actual dimensions of height and width on the screen? Well, we can go to the CSS window and style the div by selecting it by its name. Then we open up the style properties with curly braces. We're going to call the name of the element's property that we want to change, in this case background color with a hyphen. The properties then need a value that we can put after colons. Each property and value is separated by a semicolon. We're going to add more properties later, so we'll just put the semicolon as a best practice. I'm going to make the background color of the div gray. We can use the names of colors, but it's not always a sure thing, so we're going to make a color by calling a hexadecimal value with a hashtag. The numbers in order are 2 digits for the amount of red, 2 digits for the amount of green, and 2 digits for the amount of blue. 00 for any of the 3 colors means none of that color, and FF means all of that color. So all zeros is black and all Fs is white. Medium red is hashtag A0000. Medium green is hashtag 00A00, and medium blue is hashtag 0000A. And since we want gray, we're going to use all of the colors in the middle, which we can make something like 9A9A9A. I recommend checking out the hex colors explanation page on w3schools.com for more information. What you'll notice is that the div is as wide as the entire page, but only as tall as the text characters inside it. This is the default behavior of a div. The div expands as much as there is available width on its own row of content, but it will only grow as tall as the content inside. If we want the div to only be as wide as the content inside, we can set its width property to fit content. You also notice that there is some white space above and around the div. This is the default behavior of many browsers. We can fix this by adding an asterisk or star selector to the CSS and setting the margin to 0 and the padding to 0. We will talk more about margin and padding in a moment. Now let's discuss the CSS box model. A good place to start is the w3schools.com section on the CSS box model. Our div here should be as wide and tall as its content if its width is set to fit content. We can also add padding, which will add space on all sides of the content, top, right, bottom, and left. Padding will increase the total size of our element by the size of the content plus the left and right padding for its width, and the size of the content plus its top and bottom padding for its height. Sizes can be set with different units of measurement, but right now we will just use pixel values, which are shortened to the key term px. The px key term is appended to the scalar value without space. We can set padding on any side independently by calling padding hyphen and the side we want to add padding to. We can also add a border to the div element. The border takes 3 values that we call arguments. The stroke width of the border, then a space, then the type of border line, such as solid, dashed, or dotted. Then finally, we add the color of the border with a color name or hex value. We'll set the border color to a hex value of black using the hashtag and 3-digit color shortcut of 0, 0, 0. We don't have to have a div only be the size of its internal content. We can also set a fixed width and height for the div. A standard number to use when testing CSS features is 100px. We can set height to 100px and width to 100px to better visualize the box model. One important thing to notice is that as we increase the size of the border stroke width, the total size of the div will increase. we can actually make the browser recalculate the div size to include the size of the border into the height and width property calculations by changing the div's box sizing property to border box. Notice that box sizing and border box both have hyphens. The importance of box sizing, border box might not be immediately clear, but as you increase in your styling abilities, it becomes a very important tool in your developer toolbox. The final important piece of the CSS box model is margin. Margin is the amount of space on the outside of the element. It will move the element away from the other elements around it and the edges of the viewport. Notice that the size of the div with its content and border doesn't change. So if you want to calculate the total distance of the div from the other elements, you must add its width and height with its margin. Also, like with padding and border, you can set the margin independently with margin, hyphen, and then the direction of the margin top, right, bottom, or left. You can also set the values of the directional margin in the order of top, right, bottom, and left on the same line as the margin property. You may also set top and bottom margin together and then left and right margin together in a two-value shortcut. If you would like more of this type of content, please like, subscribe, and leave a positive comment. There will be premium advanced content coming very soon, so keep your eyes on this channel. Thanks for watching.